Imagine that your home was overtaken by a wildfire, or your hometown was completely demolished by a devastating tornado. Or imagine that your entire neighborhood was wiped out by a catastrophic hurricane. For some people, this is more than a nightmare. It's their reality. Luckily for them, there are many organizations that are willing to help. One organization that hits very close to home here in Heston is Mennonite Disaster Service. MDS's website states that the idea for the organization was created by 2 Sunday school classes from Heston Mennonite Church in 1950 after tornadoes and flooding in Oklahoma. Service is a very important part in my life. This summer, I spent a month in Lidditz, Pennsylvania at MDS's office working as a volunteer because my brother works there. Today, I'm going to explain to you how Mennonite Disaster Service helps disaster victims get their lives back to normal. The first step is responding to a community. Next is rebuilding the community, and finally, restoring the community. Responding means responding to the needs of the community. In an interview, Brett Troyer, the project logistics coordinator for Mennonite Disaster Service, explained that MDS is different than other relief organizations because it specializes in long-term recovery. Troyer stated, responding means responding to the needs of a community. For some organizations, that means immediately with things like blankets, food, or water. MDS views the home as an important part of the recovery process. One place responding is currently taking place is in Brewster, Washington. Brewster is a town of 2,400 people that was ravaged by wildfires in the summer of 2014. When MDS employees go to a site, they look for the 4 pillars. These 4 pillars are meaningful work, funds, accommodations, and volunteers. And these 4 things are needed at all MDS projects. Previously mentioned Troyer stated that meaningful work is the most important pillar to look for. We try to find a person or people who needs help and wouldn't have the means to recover any other way, he said. Camp in Brewster will be set up on October 5th, and volunteers will begin arriving October 14th. The next step is rebuilding. This means more than just rebuilding existing homes. It sometimes means building totally new ones. MDS's motto is simple, safe, secure, and sanitary housing. Rebuilding is currently happening in Pilger, Nebraska. The EF4 tornadoes that hit Pilger, Nebraska on June 16, 2014 killed 2 people, injured 16, and destroyed or caused damage to over half of the village's buildings, according to MDS's website's response information page. Rebuilding began in February of 2015. The first steps they did were actually the opposite of rebuilding, demolition. After this was over, they moved on to actually rebuilding homes. Once the heavy labor is done, it's time to begin the final step, restoring. A post on MDS's Facebook page says, while the main focus is on cleanup, repair, and rebuilding homes, this service touches lives and nurtures hope, faith, and wholeness. MDS cares about more than just the job site. They care about the lives they are touching. MDS focuses on helping people who need it most, people that wouldn't be able to recover any other way. One place this is currently happening is Far Rockaway, a place that was just closed for rebuilding, but the restoring has just begun. Far Rockaway was hit by Hurricane Sandy in 2012. According to the New York Times article, Church Group Has a Hammer by Helen Stupinski about the work MDS did in New York after Hurricane Sandy, many people the volunteers helped had never heard of Mennonites or Mennonite Disaster Service. The service is a Christian group, but does not discriminate in the people it helps or who can volunteer, writes Stupinski. Karen Daughtry was one person affected by the storm, and the Times article tells her story with MDS. People came and said they would help, took my money, and then never came back, Daughtry said. MDS came in, made her feel safe, more than just by putting a roof over her head. Restoring people to their homes and restoring a sense of safety is what Mennonite Disaster Service is all about. Mennonite Disaster Service has helped many people over the years by following the steps of responding, rebuilding, and restoring the communities. Disasters are unpredictable, but you can always count on people being willing to help.